welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching my videos. If you're new here, please remember to hit the subscribe button, subscribe. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always watching my videos and engaging, dropping a comment, liking. I really appreciate it. Please remember to subscribe as well. In today's vlog, I'm going to be talking about food. Food is the second question I get after housing. Or should I say, they are side by sides, they're almost at par. I get questions bordering on food a lot. And I also had questions before I came here because I could be very picky when it comes to food. So I was wondering if it would be easy to source. I'm Nigerian, so I was wondering if it would be easy to source Nigerian foods when I come here. And I didn't quite find an elaborate video because I consume YouTube content as well to say, okay, these are the kinds of foods you can find. However, if you scroll down, if you're new here and you haven't seen my video about African grocery shopping in Canada, you can scroll down and you're going to see the video somewhere. I'll try to link it to this one. And in that video, I showed 2 African stores where you can see a variety of African food, Nigerian food precisely, and you'd be amazed at the variety of what they have. You'll be shocked at some of the things you see, because when I was leaving home, I felt it would be goodbye to some of the foods I liked the most, and surprisingly it wasn't goodbye because I got to find them here. And when I tell even those who've been in Canada for like 5 years plus, when I tell them about the things I make, they ask me, where did you get that ingredient from? Or where did you get that Nigerian delicacy from? And I tell them I get them from the African stores. They're amazed. For example, afang soup. I thought I wasn't going to eat afang soup anymore. If you're from the south, you know what I'm talking about. Afang. I love afang. And I was able to make it a couple of weeks ago from the ingredients I got. So that's just one of the many things you can actually get from sourcing. But my emphasis today in this video is going to be about storage for winter. As the winter month approaches, or as the winter season approaches, it's sometimes difficult to get certain things. For example, tomatoes. I wouldn't say it not so difficult, but it's kind of pricey, right? You're still going to see tomatoes, but it's pricey, and it's always advisable to get them when they're in season and store them for a period of time. So there was a time back in August, September, when tomato boxes were being sold, and luckily today in one of the groups I belong to, I saw an advert where tomato boxes were still being sold for $15. That's how much I bought my box as well, and I got it from Freestone. So I'm going to be inserting a little picture of Freestone tomato boxes in this video, and you'd see the name Freestone. You can Google it and see which store is close to you, and you're going to get the tomato boxes from there. That's where I was able to buy and then stock up in a large quantity so that I don't run helter-skelter for tomatoes when I need them over the winter period. Because the last thing I want is when I'm out of stock for something and then I have to start thinking about how to get that. Now, I like making tomato stew every now and then. Tomato stew is one of the meals you would almost find in my freezer almost all the time, because I feel it's pretty easy. You could use it for rice, for spaghetti, for yam, for potatoes. You could just use it. It's really versatile. So I am a fan of tomatoes. So I had to get them in boxes, and then I had to store them. Now to the storage. You're going to ask how you're going to store all of these boxes, because I found myself buying up to 3 boxes. Yeah, because I stay alone, so I didn't need much. Some families got as many as 5, 6, 7 boxes, and you'll be asking, how do you store it? Yeah, I'm going to answer that question in this vlog. So the first thing I got when I got my house was a freezer. A freezer was a non-negotiable for me, because it was where I was going to be storing all of my foods, going by how back in Nigeria, right, it's easy to just wake up and find Chidi's shop or Emeka shop or Femi shop. Pardon me if that's your name, I'm sorry. It's easy to just wake up and find those stores by the corner and just waltz in there and buy whatever thing you're lacking at home. Over here, it's not that simple. Geez, you have to travel far, especially if you don't live close to the grocery shops. You have to travel to go get these groceries. So it's advisable you store these things in bulk so that you're not all over the place when you're out of stock. So what I did was I got the tomato boxes. You've seen the picture. I inserted it in the previous slide. I'm going to put it here again. I got the boxes and then I cut them. If you're I don't know if this is applicable to other people, but I'm speaking for those who are Nigerian who pretty much understand what I mean by this process I'm about to describe. So I cut them and then I blended them with peppers. Now different people prefer their tomato base. It's really based on preference, right? I'm pretty simple and I just like it with some habanero peppers, lots of onions, and then if I have what we call the tatashi, I use it as well. The other big red pepper. Pardon me. So I blend it with the tomatoes and then I boil. When I do that, it reduces it to a thick consistency, almost like a paste, and that way I'm able to store them in Ziploc bags. So I was able to make lots of those and store them in plenty of Ziploc bags, and they're in my freezer. I'm just going to bend here real quick and show you, because I brought them out of my freezer to just show you a practical picture of what I have. So over here, this is actually frozen. So this is the tomatoes that I boiled, and this is the outcome. This is just one of the many that I have. So like I said, I cut them, blended them, and then boiled them, and then when it reduced into a paste, I just fetched it into these Ziploc bags I have. Forget the shape, it's frozen and it froze this way. And then this is what I have. So whenever I want to make stew bases or jollof rice or something, I just have to bring this out, defrost it, and then use it to do whatever meal I want to prep per time. Pretty easy, pretty simple, especially in the winter months when those boxes will no longer be 15 bucks. The prices are going to go up because the tomatoes will not be available as much as you have them now. That's why I bought that much at the time. So if you're just arriving Calgary or Canada as a whole, I don't know about other provinces. I'm in Calgary. That's why each time I make my videos, I make reference to Calgary because this is where I am, and I can tell the stories based on the experiences I am seeing firsthand here. In the groups they advertised Freestone. You can go to Freestone today. If you're in Calgary, if you're coming around, I think they should have it. Well, I don't know. I don't work there. So you may be able to find it for the rest of this week. Get as many boxes as you can, boil them. Some other people don't like to boil. What they do is they just slice the tomatoes and bake them or roast them, I'll say. When you roast them, it reduces the water content, and then they also put them in Ziploc bags and save. Whenever they want to cook the stew, they bring it, they defrost it, and then they boil. Whatever works for you is what people do here, right? So if you feel that works for you better, why not? You go for that. But this is the method I prefer. I found out most people do that as well, particularly if they don't want to go through. It was stressful, honestly, because I had to blend series of tomatoes, and I didn't do it in a day. I work, so it was after work when I come back I get to do this. So I blend and boil in batches. It took me almost a week to finish the 3 boxes. They are quite huge boxes, and I think I'm going to insert a picture of the boxes as well here so you'd see. They're quite huge, so you'd be able to take care of your business. So that's that for tomatoes. You can get it in Freestone, like I said. Just check around, or maybe any farmer's market. You may just be lucky to find. And the brand of tomatoes I like is the Roma tomatoes. That is the one that is close to what we have back home. That is going to give you that home taste. Roma tomatoes, don't forget, in case you want a particular brand. If you're not particular about brands, then you can buy any one at all. Then the next thing I wanted to talk about is yams. I like yams. Where I'm from back home is the home of yams, if I do say so myself. So I grew up liking yams, boiled, fried, roasted. I just like yams. And the yams here, I'm not talking about the yams you're served when you go to a typical restaurant here. I'm not being biased in any way, but what they know as yams here are potatoes. But if you're Nigerian or if you're African, you know the typical yam I'm talking about. I actually thought I wasn't going to see yams here, confession. But then there are lots of yams and you can buy them in boxes. So you can either buy a full box of yam or half box of yam. But then from my experience, if you buy lots of yam, they get to spoil easily. They get to dry out or they start spoiling, rotting from the inside. So I got really worried about storage and how to preserve the yams. And then I stumbled upon this really nice information I'm going to also share today about how to preserve the yams. So what I did was I cut the yams into different sizes, into the ones I want to boil and into the shapes I would want to fry. And then I put them into different Ziploc bags as well and then froze them. That is the way to keep the yams lasting for very long, and you'll be able to refer to them whenever you need them. Trust me, it will last. So if you cut it that way, you're just taking out of the freezer and then straight to boiling, or you're just taking it out and straight to frying. That way you can have yams all round during the winter season, during the summer season, whatever season it is, you'd be able to have yams if you're a lover of yam like me. Remember to buy, when you buy it, remember to cut them into the shapes you want and then wash them properly and freeze. When I was showing my friend this, she's in Poland, she was amazed at the storage system for the yams because it's something she's never really thought of. But when I came here, I had to find out all of these things because these are foods that I like, and the only way to preserve them so that I don't run out of stock is what I'm describing, and that's where my freezer really came in handy. So I'm going to show you the yams as well. Now there's something, if you remove the yams, if you're not using the yams immediately and they're already frozen and you remove them too early and keep them out, they are going to change color. I think it's the process of oxidization, they keep calling it, I'm not so sure now, but then they're going to change color. But when they change color, it doesn't mean that they are bad. It's just that I think they say air has entered. I'm not so sure. If you understand that science, please maybe drop a comment to explain to others. But then I'm just going to show you my yams in the Ziploc bags again. And right here, this is what we have. Ooh, okay, so I brought this one out early as well, and the colors are not as white as the typical yams, but they are frozen, and this is what I get. So by the time I defrost it, or sometimes I don't because they're already in the shapes I want, so I just put them straight in the pot and boil. That way it softens in the pot and then it boils and gets to whatever consistency I want. So you just put them in Ziploc bags like this. Like I said, forget about the color. If you can see, most of the colors are beginning to turn. That's because I brought this out a while ago before I started filming this video. But normally, if you cut them straight from as you buy them and cut them, they just remain white, and you're able to freeze them that way. So that's that for yams, and you can always keep all of these things in your freezer to make reference to them. Also for meat and fish. Now I keep making reference to all of these groups that I belong to, and that's because of the benefits I stand to gain from these groups, as well as contribute whenever anybody has a question and I know the answers to. So in these groups, you'll find people who share meats, or say cow meat, goat meat and all. If you want to buy stuff in bulk, you may also want to take advantage of that. They share half, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16. You buy based on your need. If you know you have a large family, you know you're going to be buying more. So there's goat meat, there's beef, and you can always get chicken around, except you want the African, the one sold in the African store. You can also get turkey and kip. You can get mackerel. So I also got mackerel. That's too big. I can't raise that mackerel. I can't be moving that mackerel up and down because it's quite heavy, and I got a lot of them. I like mackerel every once in a while. So that's in my freezer, and I just thought that as well as things like shaki, pomo and all of that. If you're Nigerian, you understand. Again, if you're Nigerian, you understand what I'm saying. So I got all of those things and then I stocked them up. That way, whenever I want to make my meals, I just pick up from the freezer, defrost if I need to, and then straight away I'm able to make my meals. That's when I'm craving homemade meals or meals that taste like home, and I don't want to eat all of the whole intercontinental meals, right? Another thing is pepper. Now, I like Scotch bonnet peppers. I don't know if Scotch bonnet is the same thing as habanero. However, some people blend theirs. They just blend it into a rough consistency and just store. I found out that I don't need to blend it. I can just freeze it the way it is, as whole as it is, and whenever I need it, I just take out one or two and then defrost. May I warn you that the Scotch bonnet peppers here are spicy. Oh my goodness. I can't warn you enough. Like, they are so spicy. Okay, when I came the first time, no one told me. So I bought peppers, and here I was like, oh, I finally got them fresh peppers, you know, because I had suffered for a while and I had not gotten pepper. I was using the dry pepper I came with. I finally stumbled on fresh peppers, and thank God, I was so happy. And then I came home and I decided to use, I think, 3 pieces or so. Yeah, 3 pieces if I remember too well, for a very small pot of jollof rice I was cooking for just me. Brethren, ladies and gentlemen, that food, you can classify it as I made pepper and then added a sprinkle of rice. It was so spicy. Goodness. Like, with each spoon I ate, I had to drink a glass of water. I had to drink a glass of water to quench the fire, or the fire that was blazing in my mouth. All of my lips. I don't know if you've eaten pepper so bad that all of your lips can testify to the goodness of the fire and the heat in that pepper. That's how bad they are. So I learned my lesson. I started asking questions, and then I saw that, oh, it wasn't just me. I read a very, very hilarious thread on Twitter about this guy who had a bad experience with the pepper as well. So he wrote about his pepper experience and how he and his friends nearly died of the heat of the pepper because he used a lot. So except you are someone who would tolerate spice to a very high level, then you can use as many as you want. I know our brethren from the West like a lot of pepper, but I'm sure you can testify that the pepper here is very different and very spicy. So I'm sure you don't use as much as you use back home. But then again, to each their own, right? So I freeze mine wholesome. I'm bending down to just pick up the pepper so I can show you. This, I don't know if you can see it. I hope you can see it. So these peppers are frozen as they are. If you can see from there, they have ice on the body. So they are totally frozen, as wholesome as they are. Look at how fresh they are. We bought a box, I and my friends, and then we shared it because obviously I couldn't finish a box. So we shared the pepper, and then I froze mine. So whenever I want to use it, I just take it out and use, and it works perfectly. Trust me, it's gonna stay this fresh the whole time in the freezer, and you can always make reference to it. So these are some of the foods I thought to show. I think I've touched on everything, starting from tomatoes to yams to meat to fish. So again, if you're in Calgary and you don't have tomatoes yet, to keep you across the winter months, particularly January, February, you may want to run to Freestone today and buy boxes and then store them as much as possible. One more thing, there's one more thing I didn't show. Give me a minute. So there's one more thing I didn't show, and I just remembered when I was almost wrapping up this video, is the fact that, okay, every once in a while I want my tomatoes sliced, right? Maybe I want to make egg sauce, or I just want to see the slice of tomatoes in my meal, and it's not every time I want it blended. So what I did was I sliced my tomatoes into cubes, like just slice them into, dice them rather, and then I froze a part of it. That way, like, very soon I want to make egg sauce for my potatoes, and it's very easy. I just go take a pinch of that. I'm going to show you briefly. I'm just going to bend down here and show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like right here. So I don't know if you're seeing it well, but the tomatoes are cut. They are diced into cubes, and it is frozen. That's why it looks this way. However, when I brought it out to defrost, and after I defrost, all I need to do is just take a part of it. It's already breaking off. Take a part of it, just small. I don't like it so much all over the place in my egg sauce. So just small, and then my egg sauce is ready. Voila. I don't need to be running to superstore or whatever store it is whenever I need fresh tomatoes or whenever I need to slice them into my meals. This comes in really handy. And I just thought to share that tip as well, in case you like fresh tomatoes every now and then and you're thinking, if I blend all of it, how am I going to do? So instead of maybe storing them whole, because if you store them whole, if you freeze them whole, well, that's another method. You can freeze the whole tomatoes and then always slice it whenever you need it. However, I realized when I do that, in the process of bringing it out to slice, it's either too strong at the moment, like it's too frozen, and then I have to allow it defrost. By the time it thaws, it becomes too soft to slice. So instead of going through all of that process, I just decided to slice them, store them in Ziploc bags, and then whenever I need them, I just fetch a little portion and make my meals. I hope this video came in really handy. Ziploc bags are your friends, are your friend. Ziploc bags are your friend in this country. If you want to store food, Ziploc bag is your friend. You can always store food in all of these Ziploc bags, different sizes, little sizes, big sizes. They come in really handy for all of your food materials. And then if you're like me, I like to portion. Like I got a portion of beef the other day, the meat sharing. So what I did was I just washed them and portioned them into small quantities, so that whenever I want to cook, I just defrost a portion of it and then I'm able to cook. These are just general tips I thought to share, and also answer some questions I was getting about tomatoes in particular, and then how to store them, also for yams. So I hope this video came in handy. I hope you liked this video. Please remember to hit the subscribe button. Watch out for more amazing content. If you also want me to talk about something that you have in mind, if you're in Nigeria and you have certain questions, certain doubts, trust me, I also had doubts. I'm sure many of us watching this video that are in Canada today had doubts and questions. So if you have questions and you want me to maybe address them, you can shoot me an email. My contact details will be in the description box, or you can write a DM on Instagram and I will respond as soon as I can. So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching. Please remember to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for always watching my videos. I need to go make my yam and egg sauce. Is it yam? No, potatoes and egg sauce. Bon appetit. Remember to subscribe. Thank you guys. I want to